is Lagerstromia pink velour, which is a new crepe myrtle that will do really well in gardens in our neck of the woods. And what's kind of so extraordinary about it is that the foliage is dark and dusky, and the stems have a beautiful reddish tinge, very hot pink magenta flowers. Lagerstromias do really well in our region if you just think a little bit about where you're going to plant them and what you expect them to do. This is one that's going to be a large shrub rather than a full-on tree. In 5 years it'll be 10 feet tall and about 5 feet wide. They love hot. The caveat to that is that they require some summer water. And I have two in my garden, one that's growing in my parking strip, which is mulched with gravel and which doesn't get a lot of regular water. And once I got it established, the first 3 years it's done really well with no supplemental water. This one will need water, of course, to get settled in, but they perform best with regular summer water. They like a nice, friable, well-draining soil. And we're seeing a lot more availability of different Lagerstromias for our area. There are lots of new hybrids. This is one called Zuni, which I actually have this is the one I have in my parking strip. And they're hardy to zone 6B. Great purple flowers. Last year I actually had to prune it a little bit in the summer because the branches were getting so weighted down. This likes full sun, meaning it needs at least 6 hours of sun a day, and gets to 14 feet tall and about 10 feet wide. So it's a little bit broad, and I have had to prune it back to make it work in the parking strip. Lagerstromias also have beautiful bark in the winter, kind of a reddish, a little bit sluffy, but they have a really nice presence in the winter garden. It's one of the reasons I like them. You have beautiful foliage from spring on, then you have late summer bloom, and it's a time that not much happens with large shrubs and trees in terms of bloom, and then beautiful bark in the winter. I just put a new one in my back garden, and I'm going to put clematis in it and thread it through, and the tree's big enough now that I can do that, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll do some color combinations with that. We can go from one extreme to the next. We can go from blazing hot sun to the shade. This is one of our native huckleberries, Vaccinium ovatum. It grows in part to full shade. I've also seen it in full sun, used as a hedge, and I was quite taken by that. It looked wonderful. It wasn't a pruned hedge, it was just very random kind of. It was really beautiful. But look at the stem color on this. It doesn't get much better than that. This dark burgundy, and then the new foliage comes out sort of a reddish tawny color, and here you can see some berries. But evergreens that will do well in the full shade are really difficult to find. And this is a plant that will grow underneath the canopy of trees and actually do well. They do need to be watered when you're settling them in those first 3 years. After that, they'll be fairly drought tolerant in a woodland. And I have some in my shady spots in my back garden, and I really have learned to appreciate this plant over time. When you buy them, it's very hard to find anything of much size, but just look at the overall shape, and when you take it home, if you want it to be more upright, just do a little judicious pruning after it's been in the ground a while, and be patient with it. It's not going to be a rapidly expanding plant. It's going to take its time, but in 3 or 4 years you're going to begin to see the shape of things to come, and there's nothing better in the shade garden as a background plant than the native evergreen huckleberry Vaccinium ovatum. It's always hard to find plants, perennials or shrubs, trees that bloom in the autumn. And hardy hibiscus have been around for a really long time, but there's been a resurgence in breeding in the last 5 years, 6 years, and we're beginning to see some beautiful new hardy hibiscus on the market. The thing that I was struck by this one was the fabulous purple coloration on the leaves, the beautiful stem color, and then look at that bloom. kind of a dusky purple, magenta, pink, my color most assuredly. And here where we've got some newer foliage, look at the tints of purple there. It's absolutely beautiful. So this is actually going home to is going to be in my garden. It certainly fits in my color palette. One of the things that hardy hibiscus don't like necessarily is our winter wet. The grower who I bought this from first really grew them in Wisconsin, and so they're really, really cold hardy. And her suggestion is that I put it in, when I plant it, that I put it either on the top of a slope, even a gentle slope, or when I plant it, I go ahead and create a little berm and plant it a little bit high, which I can do it that way in my wall garden. And so the better drainage it has, the better chance it has of living through our winters. I've had other hardy hibiscus in my garden over the years, and they've been very, very successful. But this is such a standout new color form that I just have to have it.